Oh my
Well,
gosh. I was so late. I was trying to get everything rushing through. Hello, hello.
it's fine. It's fine. Hi, John. I hope everything's going okay. And hi, Matt, Miss M.
Hello,
Uh,
Ms.
sorry, I'm
Graveyard
just going through
John.
all of the. Yeah, I'm just going quickly through all of that. Yeah, I think it should all be one video. We could probably just do that.
Yeah,
You'll
if that
see
was all
me.
one, that would make it a lot easier because I just clicked through. But anyways, how is everybody doing tonight?
Great. And it's going really good.
Woohoo! I want to thank everybody for remembering that we are on Tuesday night right now until John is ready to come back to the camera, and then we'll figure out if we stay on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or what we do. But we are happy that you have all joined us over here on a Tuesday night. We have an interesting topic tonight. Let me see if I can find our little banner. Um, this one is one that I really knew nothing about before we decided to take this one on. What about you, Aubrey?
I was. I thought it was an interesting topic, so that's why I wanted to go through it first.
Right, right, right. It's
And
very.
then going through, I was like, wow, this is a really hard topic to like find media examples of. So
It
I was like,
it
well,
was a
but
very difficult topic, but this one actually
it's a
spurred
big
from.
learning
This has a
lessons.
little bit of historical context, at least in literature.
Hmm.
Did you want to talk about that a little bit, Aubrey, while I get this little definition card?
Yeah, actually, this disease, which I have a really hard time saying,
Boom, here we go.
there he goes. Porphyria. See, I cannot pronounce it. Cutanea tarda. It's a really rare disorder. It's actually basically like allergy to the sun. That's basically what it is.
Right,
But it sometimes gets referenced as the vampire disease, which is funny enough actually a completely different disease. But this
right,
one often gets linked with it, and its historical context is in things like Vlad the Impaler and actually Dracula is a really big um, is a really big influence on this disease. So, but it
exactly.
is actually separate from vampirism, which is what most people think of when they think of Dracula and vampires.
Hey,
So,
really
very
quickly,
different.
Mez is saying that we are having a ringing issue. I'm
A
gonna,
ringing
each of
issue.
us are gonna go through and mute our mics for just a few
Okay.
seconds to see where it's coming from. I'm gonna go
All right.
first and mute my mic.
Okay.
Alright. All right, Aubrey, go ahead and mute your mic.
Okay.
I'm not hearing any of that ringing. Mez, let us know which one it is. Go ahead and bring your mic back up, Aubrey. And Robin, Robin is closed out, so it's going to be probably one of the two of
It's
us.
gonna be one of us. It could be me. I'm not gonna.
Nez, let us know which one of us that ringing seemed to be coming from. All right, I've got the definition card up.
Awesome. So it's a rare disorder characterized by painful blistering skin lesions that developed on sun exposed skin. Photosensitivity affected skin is fragile and may peel or blister after minor trauma. Liver
Wow.
abnormalities may also occur. That is weird.
Okay, so yeah.
I also turned down
So
my mic too. I have a mic that I'm using.
and Graveyard
So
says
that
I
could
sound
be it.
really far away. Try unplugging and plugging back in. All right. Ooh, ooh, that's being loud. I'm gonna unplug my mic and plug back in.
Okay, I'm gonna do it too.
All right, that's me. All right, let me know if any of that got any better. I apologize for
Did
everybody
any of
else
that get
viewing
better?
right now. It's super bad. Like I won't be able to watch, so this needs to get sorted. I don't know what's
Yeah,
needing sorted. I just did you
I
unplug
don't
yours,
know.
Aubrey, and plug
I
back in?
did. I turned mine off and on. Hold on. Okay. No, it must be an internal sound, I'm guessing.
I don't hear anything in my microphones at all.
I mean, neither do I. So I don't know.
Is anybody else catching it? Besides Mets?
Stampy said.
Yeah, I know. I know. Graveyard said that I sounded super far away.
Oh, I wonder. I don't think it's check. Is it really like a motorboat thing?
Wait, now you're sounding a little bit muffled to me.
I turned my mic down.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time hearing you, Aubrey.
Let me turn up my mic.
Got you now.
Oh, I'm kind of hearing it. I'm gonna do something real quick. It might be my cat bowl because it's the motor is being really loud. So let me try that. Let me
All
see if
right.
that's what it is. I'm
All
so
right.
sorry if that's what it is because I have my mic on today, and if it's really that bad, I'll just turn the mic off and use my regular headphones. Hold on.
No problem. So while Aubrey is doing that, a couple of quick facts that I had was looking up when I was doing research on this. It's a very interesting disease. Obviously, it's not something that you know people like to deal with or want to deal with, but it's affected by basically people going out into the sun and getting blisters on their skin due to the sun damage. And this is a disease that is, first off, it's very, very rare. Less than 500,000 people
Is
are
that better,
known
guys?
to have it. I sent a vid sample of it to HOK. Vid sample of what?
No, if
You don't? Do
the
you? Do you hear it, Robin?
no, well, I don't know it.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is a skin disease. Please let us know if the sound is still an issue. It should be.
It,
Yeah, I know the
Aubrey,
correct
did
mic
you
was
check
set.
your mic just to make sure? Because I know you're using a new mic this week, right,
It's
Aubrey?
not a new mic. I've used it before. This is not a new
Oh,
mic.
okay.
Let me go and check and make sure.
They're saying it's still an issue.
Yeah,
Let me
no, it's
check.
still in focus, right? So,
Let me check mine
okay, I turned
also.
my mic volume down a little bit.
Let's see if this.
I,
Okay, I just changed.
that.
Yep,
Okay,
I
better.
just changed one of my settings.
I just changed
Oh,
Hopefully
both
that
my mics, my
something.
Focusrite mic setting. Is that better for you guys? Let me know in the chat.
It was me. Was it me? Ah, maybe it was mine. I just changed one of my mic settings.
yeah, it will
Was it
bother
okay?
me.
Yay! All right, 11 minutes in, we
All
can finally get started in the show.
Oh,
right.
Just cut out that first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so yeah, let's
Hello, hello, everybody. I am
we'll just
Ark.
and all the replays, we'll just cut it to this point. So we'll just start over like it's all fresh.
That's right.
All right,
That's
good.
right.
Now it's the start of the show.
Alrighty, I can. I actually can. I can cut it. Oh, oh wow. Mess says she can cut out the first 10 minutes tonight.
Fantastic.
Woohoo! All right, so we want to welcome everybody to. We're gonna just take it as if it's right
Turn up
here.
for what?
Turn up for what? Welcome, welcome, welcome,
All
everybody
right.
to Hearts of Kyber.
Hello.
This is my lovely guest, Miss Captain O Captain, and this is my other lovely guest, Mr. Robin. Mr. Robin is our sign language interpreter for us, for those of you that are hearing impaired. So tonight's topic, we have an interesting topic for you tonight. Very
Hey,
challenging to research.
hey, Robin, can you actually turn your mic or your camera down a little bit because half of your signs are actually
Oh
being
yeah,
missed.
there you go.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. A little bit of a difficult, actually more difficult of a topic to research than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was more of a prevalent issue, but it is not.
Yeah,
Um, we are
really
talking
rare.
about a disease. The short name of it is PCT. I'm going to go ahead and bring that
I'm just
card
gonna
back
call it
up.
PCT from now on because the actual name for it is hard to pronounce because I haven't gone through it enough. PCT is a rare disorder characterized by painful blistering skin lesions that develop on sun exposed skin, photosensitivity, affected skin is fragile and may peel or blister after minor trauma. Liver abnormalities may also occur. So, like, you could get jaundice. You could do, I mean, that's kind of like one of those side effect things. Yellowing of
Right.
the skin, of the eyes, that's which also gives that even more pale appearance.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
that
And
people associate with like anemic or, with the other disease that this is kind of also associated with, which is hemophilia,
right.
which has a lot of historical context.
Yes, and we were talking about that before the show, how this was actually tied into Bram Stoker's Dracula novel for those that have
Hmm.
read it. Now, I don't
I have it.
know, I'm not sure which direction it went. I'm not sure if the author had made this made vampires not going into the sun part of the thing, and then this disease was related to the book, or if it was the other way
It's
around.
the other way
If
around. It's the
Okay,
other way
so
around.
Bram Stoker actually knew about this disease or something and
Well,
wrote it into
actually,
his.
so vampires actually were a historical. They're actually a historical lore. There have been vampires. The thought of vampires even since the 1500s, actually.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. So that's he gathered a lot of these myths. I mean, also based on like Vlad the Impaler, who was actually hemophilic. They
Right.
found out, which means he was anemic. His body didn't produce the right amount of red blood cells, so he was constantly ill. And but he was actually a military genius. He was a Contrary to popular belief, he was actually a hero while in Chechovia. He actually helped them gain freedom. He was a prince and gained freedom for his people, and helped them survive during the Turkish invasion. So he actually held off the Turks. But this is something that people don't really know
Right.
about. And yes, exactly. The If old folklore was often used as something that we generally know as vampirism today. But yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of folklore behind vampires. Vampires were actually seen as very different. There is also the idea that when you died back in the old days, you don't always aren't always dead. Your just body goes into a form of stasis like a coma, and that can be
Right.
perceived as death because your breathing rate is it's almost imperceptible.
Right.
You get an ashen pallor, just like, and they didn't do embalming
Right.
back then. And so sometimes they would bury people who weren't actually dead, and these people would wake up later and
Right.
try to dig themselves out of the grave. And this is something that they took to being, oh, these people are coming back from the dead. They're vampires now.
Right.
And so they would, do all these things to make sure these people were dead. Sometimes, later it got to where they would realize it, and they would have these bells that, they would have these things that would come up from the coffin itself up to the surface, and with like a ringing bell, so that they would, yes, exactly, for the bell tone. So they could ring it to tell the people they're not dead, so they don't suffocate to death. So they don't have like a second death.
Wow.
Really fascinating stuff. But yeah, if you were thought to be a vampire, that's something completely different. There's like people who've been dead for a long period of time, and your body doesn't decompose. There's like rumors of people seeing you around.
Right.
Drink the blood. That's something that is associated with vampirism, but it's also associated with hemophilia, which is what is commonly known as a vampirism disease.
Right. And
This is a little different.
this falls under a larger category of
Yes.
blood diseases, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. Now, from what I was reading about this disease, first off, we had talked about how this is a very rare disease. Only
Mm-hmm.
roughly 500,000 people are known to be affected with this disease. But
Yes.
it's also something that has to do with its actual damage. From what I understand, it's damage to your DNA. So it's not necessarily hereditary. Although if you have two parents that have this, you have a higher risk of
Mm-hmm.
also acquiring this. But they're not sure if it's a mixture of DNA plus environmental things that are coming together at the, kind of the wrong combination, I guess, to have people have this disease. But this is not something that is early childhood onset or even detectable early. It says that most people that get this are in their 30s or later before.
Really? That's really
Right.
interesting. I'm
Right. A
wondering if
lot
it
of
has something to do with diet or quote comorbidity,
Right.
such as if you get something like lupus or you get another disease that activates that gene that causes the, because you could be a carrier, you could have it, but it's inactive, and then it, that comorbidity hits, and then that causes that gene to activate. Rather.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really interesting.
Let's start off with the clip. Let's start off with the clip and see if this can help us guide our conversation a little bit here. Here we go.
Mr. Tuttle, you can see to the garden now. You'll find tools in the shed.
Yes, ma'am.
You two could start closing the curtains. All of them. Whatever you do, don't open the curtains. Wakey, wakey. Now, come on. Eyes closed, hands together.
Blessed be the light of day, Jesus, to whom now I may pray. Blessed be the Virgin pure, whom my grateful face will show. Jesus, Mary, spotless rose, keep us till this day of close.
What sweet little children.
Well, what do you say?
How do you do? How do you do?
How do you do, children? My name is Mrs. Mills, but you can call me Bertha if you like. What are your names?
Anne, Nicholas.
Anne and Nicholas. What pretty names.
Are you going to be our new nanny?
Yes, my dears. I'm your new nanny.
It's time for their breakfast. Lydia, go to the kitchen and close every shutter. The doctors were never able to find a cure.
For what?
Their condition. The children have a very serious allergy to light. They are photosensitive and they must never be exposed to any light much stronger than this. Otherwise, in a matter of minutes, they would break out in sores and blisters and begin to suffocate. It would eventually be fatal.
Good heavens.
Wow.
So I wanted to show that first, yeah, because it's really interesting to see how that affects people.
I'm happy you were able to find that. There's not a lot in popular media that talks about that or discusses it at all.
No, it took me a long time to find this clip because as I was learning about this disease, that was what came to mind. I'm like, oh, the others, this is what this disease is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it kind of gives me a whole new perspective on the, on the movie. I need to go back and watch it because it's when I watched it back when it came out in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really care for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But going through the clips and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is actually a really, really well done film.
Right.
It's beautiful, suspenseful, and the twist is actually really interesting.
Is it like a suspense movie or something, or?
It's I don't want to no spoiler free, but it's a really interesting watch.
I know Graveyard seemed to recognize it when we were showing the clip. So that's not a movie that I'm familiar with, but obviously I noticed Nicole Kidman, as a famous actress. So this is, a mainstream movie.
15 when this came out, 15 or 16. It's 2001, so it was either 15 or 16.
Right.
And it was a book originally. I didn't know that it was a book.
Oh wow.
I probably read it and not even know. I've read so many books, so they all like sometimes blur together. But But yeah, was a really interesting. Oh, it's a remake from another movie.
Oh wow.
What movie is that, Dumpy?
The original
I really
movie.
want to know. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
so
the
one
movie
of
called?
one of the
Mhm.
things that they had said in there that I did not see in my research
Mhm.
was she was saying that they it causes them to suffocate.
I've actually heard. So the thing is that it's more like a tightening of the chest.
Mhm.
Again, this is something that this takes place in 1945, so they really don't know as much about the disease. I
Right,
did. I did notice that they do have some sufferers in more severe cases that does happen to them.
right, right.
Oh, this is based on the turning of the screw? No. Really? That's a whole because from what I know of turning of the screw, that it's a really it's a very, very different book.
Wow.
Very different book. Yeah, that's interesting, the turning of the screw. I don't know because it's a very different ending. Very different.
Right.
I don't wanna ruin
Now,
it, but it basically has to do with aliens and
now
pheromone, which is
from what
very
I
different.
understand, this is not something that is curable. Is that did you read anything different?
Yes, that's what I read, yes.
So this is a lifetime kind of thing that people have to deal with.
And it gets worse from what I've seen. It is something without like treatment. I think you can treat it, but it
Right.
doesn't. But there's no cures of the
Wow.
moment from what I've researched.
That is horrible. Um yeah, let's go to another video clip here real quick and maybe this will give us a little better understanding. Now this first one we had talked about how this was kind of underneath the category of much broader topic.
Bigger.
So that's what
And
this
you may
first
also have. So here's the other thing with them. They also may have comorbidities.
right,
With
right, right.
not only do they have PCT, but they also may have other ones under the umbrella of this, which may cause that suffocation as well. So that's something I'm.
Wow. See, we got our movie expert over here. 40th
Yes,
anniversary
down
was the others.
61.
Innocence came out in 61.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to, Dampy. We should do a watch of it, a watch of the original, and then the others, and like compare and contrast them. I think that'd be a really
Wow.
interesting thing to do. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah,
Take
so
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll this video clip. It's gonna talk about kind of like the bigger picture, and then we have another clip a little bit later that we'll get into a little bit more. I do want to remind everybody, both Aubrey and I, although we are very interested in medical topics, neither of us are doctors or nurses or have degrees.
No,
Uh,
I do live with two nurses though. I live with a nurse practitioner and a LVN. So
Right. So keep in mind that everything that we're showing, everything that we talk about, they are our opinions. They're based off of our personal research. We are not saying we are not accredited doctors. So do not, if you have symptoms or you think you might be dealing with any of these things, go talk to your personal
yes,
physician. Do not call Aubrey's phone and ask her, like, oh my God, what do I do?
don't do that because I will most likely give you wrong information.
And she'll just refer
So
you to a room.
yeah, I'll refer you to my housemates. Go talk to them. Go get diagnosed from them. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want them blowing up their phone either. But no, I just have interests in these things. So
Exactly. As far as myself, my background is in early childhood education, and it just oh my God, I cannot speak today. I promise I know the language. Early childhood education and child development
there you go.
is where my background comes from. So I have a lot of interest in a lot of these topics that we cover. Let me go ahead and get into this clip though, and maybe this will give us a little more information.
Hello friends, welcome to BMH Learning. This video is about porphyria and types of porphyria. Porphyria refers to a group of disorders that result from a buildup of natural chemicals that produce porphyrin in your body. Basically, it's caused by abnormalities in the chemical steps that lead to heme production. High levels of porphyrins can cause significant problems. Types of porphyria. There are two general categories of porphyria. The first is the acute porphyria. This include forms of the disease that typically cause nervous system symptoms, which appear quickly and can be severe. Signs and symptoms are mentioned. Acute porphyria is categorized into acute intermittent porphyria, porphyria variegata, hereditary coproporphyria. Second type is cutaneous, which mainly affects the skin. Porphyria cutanea tarda is the most common type of all the porphyrias. This was all. Thanks for watching.
Really fascinating.
So this is the most common type of this type of blood disease, and we can see there again he mentioned hema, which is blood. So this is one of the most common types of blood disease in that category.
Mm-hmm.
And porphyria.
Porphyria. I was just practicing at porphyria.
Porphyria.
Porphyria. Say that 5 times fast, everyone.
Exactly.
So this is what's really interesting is that there are 2 different types, and that they are, one attacks the blood specifically, like you said, the hemoproduction, which is what hemophilia is based off of, versus the skin, the porphyria that attacks the skin, the Cutanea. Right. So I thought that was super fascinating that that this one is the most common. So that's why we hear about it more. But I think they are in conjunction with each other. That's what creates that vampirism disease.
And if anybody in the audience has more information, or if they've known someone, again, this is one of the more rare
feel free
diseases.
to comment, and if you have experiences with it, like, please put those in there. It's really interesting because I was just thinking about it because we were talking about comorbidities or common traits of these that may also be linked to other diseases, like lupus, for instance. My sister thinks she's suffering from lupus. She doesn't have an official diagnosis, but when she goes into the sun, she breaks out in sores as well. So wow. I'm wondering if this, I'm wondering if she may even have this, but apparently it's a common side effect of lupus. You have super sensitivity to the sun, and you also you get sore breakouts, which is really interesting.
Right. Wow. Okay. Gosh, I wish I had more on this topic. I really don't.
It's really interesting. It's such an interesting topic for it to have such little media representation.
Exactly. And again, the research that I had done on it, because it's such a rare disease, a lot of the other topics, I can find pages and pages of stuff. With this, I found a few sites, but a lot of it were going back to a lot of the same information, being a problem with the liver. Yeah. It was very, very medical and clinical, the stuff that I was reading.
As I said, it's really interesting, and it's fascinating that Bram Stoker, who gave us the modern vampire, took all those old lores and also this rare disease, and was able to kind of change the way we look at vampires today. He was one of the first,
right?
With the whole blowing up in the sun, turning to ash in the sun. You're blistering, you're burning. The whole photosensitivity, all of that stuff. It's really fascinating that he was able to. That's creatives for you, I guess, artists for you. They see in the world, and then they make a really interesting story out of it.
Now I am on a website, the American Porphyria Foundation, and one of the things that they were talking about, I was looking under signs and symptoms. Okay, so extremely fragile skin that can peel and blister on minimal impact is common. Affected individuals may develop blistering skin lesions on areas of the skin that are frequently exposed to the sun, such as the hands and the face. These lesions may crust over. Eventually, scarring may develop, and affected skin may darken or fade in color. Abnormal excessive hair growth, especially on the face, may also occur. The hair may even be fine or coarse and can differ in color. In some patients, their hair may grow, thicken, or darken. Small bumps with a distinct white head, melia, may also develop, especially on the back of hands. Liver abnormalities may develop in some affected individuals as well.
Oh, I may have to actually like turn my sister onto this because this sounds more and more similar to what she's having going on with her. Anyway, sorry, don't mean to take it to my sister, but it's just like, gosh, the more I hear about this, the more I'm like, maybe she should get checked for that.
Right. It says that the only way, you have to get a diagnosis from this, they can check through your urine and through your blood. Treatments. The most treatable form of Porphyria, and treatment appears equally effective for both sporadic and familiar forms. The standard treatment for individuals regularly, I can't even read that word, is regularly scheduled phylobotories to reduce iron levels in the liver.
Oh, interesting. I'm wondering if that's like basically what they do is they probably because your red blood cells are filled with iron and oxygen and all of those things. That they probably do is they probably go into the liver. It's like a syringe or something, and they probably extract
the liver is kind of
like a blood transfusion in a way.
The liver is a filter of the body, right? Or is that the kidney?
So it's part of your oh my gosh, now I'm going back to biology and I'm like, I was terrible at biology. At least talking about it. It's part of your, I think, your lymphatic system. I believe it could be also part of the digestive system, but I think it's the lymphatic system. So what it does is it's both. So that the liver actually is what purifies toxins, like in your blood and in your, and then you've got the other ones that are part of more. Then you have the kidneys, which is filtrating the other like water and everything else through the system to like, it purifies that. So they're kind of working in conjunction with each other, along with the gallbladder and your appendix, which is actually a vestigial. It's a vestigial organ, meaning we don't really use it, but it still compacts all of the leftover waste that we've got into it. So that's why it's really dangerous if it goes septic and it explodes because of all of that. So all those little systems, that is what actually keeps you healthy. And if your liver can't process those things, it will actually can scar up. And it's also what's really interesting about the liver. It's also one of the few organs we have that will actually regrow itself. Or if you cut liver away, eventually you grow a whole new liver because it's one of those. Wow. Yeah, if it's able to do that, if it's healthy, if like pieces of it are healthy enough to do that, you can cut part of that away, the scar tissue, the bad tissue away, and it can regrow. But once it's affected, it sounds like it inhibits its ability to filtrate iron out of the blood and use that to efficiently, circulate through the body. That's what it sounds like it's doing. So if you get a lot of iron buildup, it's kind of the exact opposite of hemophilia, which is you're not producing enough iron in the blood.
Right.
So it's actually causing a overreaction to the vitamins that you are getting from the sun. It's turning it against you, basically. That's what it sounds like it's doing. I mean, I'm just what is that word? I'm guessing. I'm making educated guesses about it. I'm trying to get the actual word, but it's not coming to me at the moment. So yes, I'm making educated guesses about what's happening.
Right. Did we go through all three of our clips already?
No, we have one more.
We got one more. That's what I thought. Okay.
And this is about PCT.
This is more directly about it. All right, let's go ahead and run that. I almost have a feeling tonight's going to be a shorter night than most nights. But let's go ahead and run that and see if we get some more information out of that.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Biochemistry Concepts. And this video is about one of the types of hepatic porphyrias, that is Porphyria cutanea tarda. This Porphyria cutanea tarda is also known as cutaneous hepatic porphyria. It is chronic hepatic porphyria and it is the most common porphyria with an incidence of 1 in 25,000, which is inherited as autosomal dominant trait. The enzyme deficiency in this condition is due to partial deficiency of uroporphyrinogen 3 decarboxylase. This enzyme catalyzes the conversion of uroporphyrinogen 3 to coproporphyrinogen 3. The important manifestations or features of this condition are, it is mainly a skin disorder. So patients, they suffer from mild to severe photosensitivity. Patient's urine contains large quantities of uroporphyrin 3 and some amount of uroporphyrin 1. And their liver exhibits fluorescence due to high concentration of accumulated porphyrins. So alcohol intake precipitates this condition.
Right.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I went to go and plug my computer in because I realized it was not plugged in. It was about to die. And I don't know what happened. I leaned over to go grab the plug, and my mouse fell at the same time, and it shut everything down. I was like, what just happened?
That's okay. We got you back in time.
Yep.
I don't know how much of that. Well, I mean, you've seen the video before, but even there, they had talked about the links between the urine, and I didn't catch the name, but they were saying there was a particular missing enzyme, which is what causes this particular PCT of the different blood abnormalities. But it is detectable in the urine, and that's what we were talking about earlier when they were talking about symptoms and how to check for it.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I can't remember what the enzyme is either.
Yeah, again, we could rewind it. It's in that clip for people that are interested in learning more about this disease. Gosh, I wish I had more information. I feel really lost this week.
Yeah, so there's a mutation in the UROD gene. Most individuals with the genetic mutation do not develop PCT. It's usually whether for predisposing additional factors are required for the development of PCT. So that's really interesting. So there is a form. So the form of familial PCT that's known as hepatosuri sarcoidosis. I'm saying it wrong. Porphyria, it occurs in childhood. So that's probably what that version is that's in the others.
Right.
So that's interesting. I'm still trying to see what the enzyme actually is for everybody.
It is absolutely amazing to me when we do this show every week. It is amazing to me how complex the human body is, and how just one little change, one little deviation can completely mess up the entire system.
Yeah, if I'm still helping with the co-hosting, one syndrome I'd love to talk about, which is also a genetic disorder, is called Williams syndrome. Really interesting disorder.
What is that about?
So it's a deletion in your in the strand. So you have your strands, right, of your DNA. So in the eighth strand, the eighth set of eight in your eighth line of DNA, there's a few strands that are actually deleted from your DNA code.
Oh, wow.
So what happens is when you have that, you have a certain distinctive attributes that you're born with. Like kids that tend to have Williams syndrome kids have really fine features. They're also born deaf in one ear. They tend to be deaf in one ear. They tend to be left-handed. Wow. They tend to have hypotonia, which is also known as ragdoll syndrome. They tend to be they're very smart, but they also have delayed milestones. Often. They are musically inclined.
Wow.
And they have very strong bones. Like their bones are overcalcified, and that can also, in more severe cases, that actually can cause them, like their organs can grow as they age, but their bones don't because they're too calcified. They can't remold. They can't grow. Yeah. They can't grow. So it's a really interesting disorder. genetic disorder. And actually, a lot of actors, well, not a lot, it's a pretty rare disease, but there are a few actors that we know that actually have this in a mild
Wow.
form.
Well,
Like,
I'm definitely
unknown
open.
about it.
I'm definitely open to
Yeah.
having that as a topic.
It's really interesting. I mean,
yeah.
kind of sounds like someone that you might know. Not saying any names here, though. Anyway, so yeah, it's part of that. It's really interesting that it's kind of part of that, the carrier of that, like how your DNA sequencing, to get back to the PCT topic, it's really interesting how those factors really affect the way your genetic code works, or the way
Right.
your genetic code is developed. Because if one person's a carrier, you're less likely to be predisposed of it. If one parent is one, you're more likely to be predisposed. If you have both, it's almost
guaranteed
that you may, if you have those other factors that come into place with it, that you're going to develop this some point.
And we could also, on this show too, we can talk about other things that are also involved around. And like one thing I would love to talk about, only because I would like to research it more, is CRISPR devices for editing DNA. How exactly does that work, and what does that do?
I wonder if they may. I mean, I think, aren't they already using that for gene therapy?
Yeah, I mean, it's already in full use. Where the argument comes down to is, how far do we go with these machines? Like, because you can basically whittle down someone's DNA so that you could determine what hair color they have, what eye color they have. You can change, their height and stuff. And so the question starts coming down to, right, exactly. Are we?
I've read a book that was a science fiction book that actually talks about this. It's very
Right.
very interesting.
There was that movie Gattaca, where they talk about some of the things like that. There's a few scientific movies where they talk about, being able to predetermine, and gosh, it comes down to a lot of ethical questions, right? Like, what is considered a bad disease? What is considered good? And if you know that your child is going to be predispositioned to something, do we edit that out and get rid of that completely, or is that just part of the bigger purpose? So that one comes down to some interesting questions. But we can there's definitely tons that we can talk about on the show revolving around health and
Absolutely.
medicine.
Sorry, my mom keeps trying to call me. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the stream, Mom.
So I feel kind of bad. I really don't have a lot more for tonight's topic.
No, neither do I, honestly. I wish we had more.
Usually it's tough to keep it in an hour. This one, it's tough to get it to an hour.
I mean, if you want to end it here, we could end it here.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'd rather do that as opposed to us kind of like babbling for the next 20 minutes or so. Yeah. I'd rather leave it on the information that we have. Again, if this is a topic that interests you, we totally encourage you to do your own research to learn more. That's really what this show is about.
Also, please comment on it if you know somebody or you are also dealing with this disease and your experience of it and what you've learned from it as well. Like, we welcome discussions.
Exactly. That's what the show is all about. And this show really is, it's not meant to give you like all the facts and everything you need to know. It's really just to kind of let you know, be aware of some of the things that are out there. And if you are interested in more, you can do your own research. You can do your own topic discussion. If it's something you want us to bring back up in a future show, it's very possible we can do that. If you have more information that you want to contribute that we have not contributed. Again, this is one where, oh man, Metz was supposed to bring up a card too. We actually had my goodness, I've totally forgotten her name. We wanted to do a tribute. We did an episode on stiff person syndrome. And Metz actually had a friend who suffered from this, and she has passed.
Oh no! When did this happen?
This happened, I want to say, about a month ago, because we had planned on this episode, but I think we just totally forgot with the timing. We had planned to do a tribute to her on this show.
Oh man!
But we will get that. We will get that for next show. Remind me to remind Metz about that, because it was
okay. I'll remind Em about it. but I was going to say something and I totally forgot. I was like, oh, I'm going to say this, and then yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. But no, that's not what I was going to say.
Yes, please like, subscribe, and share.
I don't know.
We also have a Patreon, and just so you know, this entire month of April, January, February, March, April, May, for the whole rest of this month, we are raising money for our dear friend Jon to get a wheelchair. Jon, this weekend we added about $2,000 to that fund. So you know, we're getting you there slowly but surely. There is a link if you would like to contribute, or if you just want to let other people know. We are doing the best that we can to try to get a new wheelchair for Mr. Jon. So please go over to kybercave.com. Anything that you buy, you're going to get 20% off, and then 20% of that is also going to go towards Mr. Jon's wheelchair, which is not cheap. So we are doing the best that we can, and we would love your help. All righty. So next week we're gonna do Tuesday again.
Yeah, we can do Tuesday again. Groovy, yeah, we can do it on, and we're gonna do it on body dysmorphia. Correct?
Is that what we're gonna do?
I think that's what we're.
I'm totally fine.
What we're doing.
I'm totally fine with whatever. Just
there's a lot about body dysmorphia, which I was actually surprised because I didn't know what it was growing up.
Right.
Until like later.
That, you know what? Let's just call it right now. Let's just call next week's episode body dysmorphia. That because I would like to start researching, like, you know, have a couple extra days on that. That one's going to be a very interesting, touchy topic in our day and age right now. Because I don't know what is it called.
That's going to have a lot of clips. We're going to.
Yeah, what is it called?
Is
it MSR? It's like the medical guide. I think they're up to version. The DSMs. I think they're up to version 4 right now. I often
5 just came out. They just released 5. Yeah,
I would be. You know what? I want to go look that up in number 5 because I wonder how that changes with modern society, right? So. You know, people that are born into a male body, but
that's not body dysmorphia. That's body dysphoria, which is completely different. Body dysmorphia is when you see yourself differently, or you only see all of the flaws in your body, and that's it. That's what you basically see your body as something else, but it's different than gender dysphoria.
Right. But okay, so what about this? What about people? I've heard about people that say, oh, I feel like I'm not supposed to have a leg, and then they want to cut off their leg, or I feel like I should be blind. Would that be body dysmorphia?
I would have to take a look at that. I don't think so. I think it's more just like you're pointing what you see. You only see the flaws in yourself,
right?
Like the things that are imperfect. So, like for instance.
People that get multiple surgeries.
Yeah, it's because they're partially it's because they're suffering from body dysmorphia. So all they're seeing is all of the imperfections in themselves. Like this is kind of a very personal one for me. I have body dysmorphia. So for instance, I don't necessarily see myself a certain way that other people see me.
Right.
And I constantly have to battle that. So it's something that's really interesting.
Huh. Well,
I'll go more into topic about it next week because I don't want to.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I'm all locked in.
It'll be really interesting. All right, we should say goodbye to everybody.
All right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. I apologize if this one was shorter than most of them are, but we do appreciate you spending time with us. Graveyard, thank you for the tips on the movies. We'll have to go back and research those. We will be back here next Tuesday at 5 p.m. It looks like we're going to be talking about body dysmorphia. So until then, we love you guys. Please check out all of our other shows. We have literally shows, brand new content 7 days a week on our channel. And we would love to see you at all of them. All right.
Yes,
okay.
Lots of shows.
Lots for you. Whatever you're into, we have something. We've got something for you. It's not all about medical and health here over at Kyber Cave.
No, there's gaming. There's topics about hard topics and soft topics after dark or Saber Rattle.
That's right. There's interviews. There's Comic-Con reviews. There's all kind. We do all kinds of stuff on this show.
All sorts of nerdy things.
Yeah. We keep
Besides
it
just medical
nerdy.
things. I mean, hey, this is a nerdy medical show. So I mean, it's kind of nerdy.
Right. All right, y'all. We love you. Take care
Mwah.
and peace.